Welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin Impact Show. And if there was ever a show full of impact, it's going to be this one. It's with my man, E.T., the HipHop Preacher. Yeah, that guy, Eric Thomas. You heard of Eric Thomas, E.T., the HipHop Preacher? Yup. Yeah, he's my special guest today, and we talking about impact. We talking about you, all these great things. He's one of the most famous motivational speakers in the world, and I got to be honest with you, I'm fired up. I'm so fired. I hope you go out and you work out. That during this episode, you might want to get a good 45-minute workout in because it's going to be epic. It's going to get the energy rocking and rolling, and you got to check it out. This is what happened. It was literally just about 4 days ago when I met E. Literally, I'm getting on a plane, going to Atlanta to do a day of impact down at my friend Joey Stort's down at Fit Body Boot Camp, Athens, Georgia. Shout out back to Athens, Georgia. It was awesome. Getting on a plane, and as I'm getting on the plane, is a pile up of people, and where I'm stopped, I just look to my right, and I see E.T.'s logo on his hat, and then I see a logo on his shirt. I'm like, that must be E. So I'm like, E.T. He looks up. I'm like, T.D. Not that he knew who I was, but I knew who he was. And I introduced myself. And after just about 15, 20 seconds of chit-chatting in the aisle, here's what I did. I sat down in my seat. And next thing you know, I DM him on IG. Within 10 seconds, he's getting back to me. So we're starting an Instagram conversation. And I know he just came out with a book called You. He's got a summit coming up here in early February. And I asked how I could help. He's like, TD, I'd love to get on the pod. I'm like, done. Folks, it literally is just about a little over a week as you listen to this that I met E.T. for the first time. I've been following him for over 15 years. 15 years I've been following this guy ever since I listened to that incredible, iconic video. If you remember that way back in the day, it was like, I don't even know, 2005, 2006, when he came out with that video, You Gotta Want Success as Bad as You Want to Breathe. And he had these points, and he was speaking to about 30 kids. We're going to get into it today. But if you've never heard of E.T., Eric Thomas, E.T., the HipHop Preacher, let me give you a little bit of background and his much deserved adieu, and then we'll dive into this episode. As a teen, Eric flunked out of every class and ended up dropping out of high school, living homeless on the streets of Detroit for 2 years with no money and no support. It looked like all hope was lost, and he couldn't do anything about it. The day Eric decided enough was enough, he formed a new perspective and approach to life, where what he thought were once dead ends, wrong turns, and impossible roadblocks, he now identified as opportunities, possibilities, and adventure. Looking back, E.T. has always been mad about labeling himself as a victim. He constantly looked at what he didn't have versus what he did have and what he could achieve and make for himself. Fast forward to today, with over 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur, world-renowned speaker, and educator, E.T. is one of the most inspiring leaders the world has ever seen. His genuine passion for people, boundary-breaking, and get-it-done attitude is infectious. Yes, it is, when you hear today's episode. His wisdom and unwavering enthusiasm for helping others achieve all they can are unlike anything yet you have witnessed. My friends, it brings me so much honor to introduce you to Eric Thomas, E.T., the HipHop Preacher, here on the Impact Show. Let's go out and hear the conversation right now. All right, he's here, the man, the myth, the legend. Eric Thomas is here in the house. E.T., what's up, my man?
TD, what a blessed day to be alive. I'm super excited, man. You know, look, we've been given another year, you know, which means that there's something that he wants us to do. You know, there's some bodies he wants us to bless, you know, and so, man, I'm still in the game. So I want to win a chip. I want to be a Hall of Famer.
I love it. I love it. Speaking of still in the game, bro, as you know, I told you this on the airplane when we met. When did that video, the popular video, drop? When you want success as bad as you want to breathe? Was that like 2006, 7? When was that?
2006, and it started to pick up steam. And TD, here's what's I'm glad you asked that question, because I want to encourage people who are listening 2006.
Yes.
I did it in a classroom. Look, I had no idea. It was about 30 kids in the room that day. I had absolutely no idea that it would go viral. I didn't want it to go viral. You know, the intent of what I was doing was not to do a viral video, right? But that was 2006, 2007. It kind of, you know, maybe 100 and something people, 1,000 people might have watched it. And we just watched every year that one video, man, just kept blowing up. And I think it's over 100 million hits, you know, with different versions of it today. So
I watched it this morning on my workout, E.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't watched this in a long time.
Yeah, it's still there.
Guys, I'm going to put it in the show notes, but if you have not seen it, hopefully you've seen it. If you have not, or even if you have, go back and watch it, because E.T., you don't even look that much different. A little bit younger, like 15 years ago. But
thank you, TD.
The message was awesome. And what, you know, obviously you got to want success as bad as you want to breathe. And then you talked about, I forgot about number 2. You had 3 points in that talk. You got to, who you are today may not be who you are tomorrow, right?
Yeah. That whole construct was, TD, we have to make a sacrifice today to become. Like, we got to give up what we are now to become whatever we want. And that's why I said, man, I'm so excited, for all the people in the health industry, that's getting after it, watching, just the everyday people like me, a mom, like my wife or dad, like me, I'm saying, like those of you who are watching, it's this thing of, hey, we got a good life. And sometimes we're so afraid to give up this good life for a better life that God has for us, for a greater cause, a greater. And at that time, I was working at Michigan State University. I'm not there anymore, but still, I do that still program. That program that you saw, 2006, although God has blessed me and I'm traveling the world, as a matter of fact, I'm actually doing the program today. So it's Monday. So I do it on Monday. So 2006, 2023, I'm still doing the exact same thing, but I had to give up so much of the success me and my wife thought we had at that point to get more of what God wanted for us. So I just want to encourage somebody. 2006, I did that video. That video has changed my life. There's something you're doing today that seems, routine, mundane. It just, you just do it. That's why I just do this program. That's all I do. And God's going to take something that you're doing regularly every week, something that's not that deep to people. It was 30 kids in that room, but yet he took that speech, and now people all over the world know me because I was just showing up, doing what I'm supposed to do. Hey, TD, I just took my brother's lunch, and Goliath happened to be there. You know what I'm saying? Goliath just happened to be there, and and so, man, take your lunch serious. Whatever your lunch is, whatever your responsibility, like just giving your lunch to your brothers, just go do that, guys. And I'm telling you, man,
it's funny. You talk about going viral in 2006 and 2007. That really wasn't even a word like, hey, I'm going to go viral.
Right.
Like, these were just popping up. And obviously that puts you on the map. And obviously now people are like, hey, this is going to go viral and you get millions of followers and this and that. That's all fantastic. But what you're really talking about is faith, is having the faith in doing the mundane and doing the things that, well, is this one story on Instagram or this one video, this one reel, there's this one podcast episode, is it going to do anything for me or not? You never know. Right?
Yeah.
I look at Hamlin, the player for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
The guy he was trying to raise $2,500 for years. Then this tragedy happens. Fortunately, he lives. And then he had over $7 million, a blessing from above. He gets millions of followers. Now the platform for him just ascended 10x, right? Yeah. We just never know.
We never know. Hey, and he may come back and play. Like, we don't know. We don't know. But you said something that's deep. You talked about faith. And I just want to say this to everybody that's listening. Do me a favor. Don't mix your faith with anything else. If you're going to be a person of faith, just be a person of faith. Like, don't mix it with, somebody else's fear.
Keep going. Keep going.
You know what I'm saying? Don't mix it with somebody else's. I don't know if God can. Like, don't do that. If you're gonna have faith, and which he says you only need a mustard seed portion of it. Like, if you're gonna have faith, just go all out in your faith and just believe that, hey, if I do what I'm supposed to do and I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I got the right heart. I'm not perfect, but I got the right intentions. I'm trying to do the right thing for people. Man, just know that faith is the currency, to really take your life to the next level.
So good. We could talk all day on that, because I think sometimes when you have faith, you're a little afraid to show it, to share it. It's like, So yeah, you're right on. Hey, the third point I was listening to today that I wanted to just ask about, because I think many people are in pain, and you talk about how pain can grow you, but none of us like to be in pain. It's what you just alluded to. Just keep doing what you're doing. And maybe this is a season of your life where things are good, or maybe it's not. You had seasons, heck, you were homeless. You had, you leave home. Mom did you a favor and kicked you out. But talk about pain for a moment, and how it can be a blessing, even though none of us like to go through pain.
Go watch the video. It may last for a day. It may last for a week, it may last for a month, it may last for a year.
True.
But I say in the video, at some point it will subside, and according to land, something else will take its place. And here's the deal. I know this is going to sound crazy to a lot of you, but pain is just as much of a blessing, as whatever you think is a blessing. So for you, whatever you think, I just got a job, what a blessing. I had a child, what a blessing. Listen to me. I've not had a child. I was blessed to be there with my wife when she had both of our children, but she went through a lot of pain. She forgot all about the pain when the child was born. When Jalen was born, when Jada was born. My wife wasn't like, I'm in so much pain. Like, as soon as the child came, it was as if she had never gone through the pain that she'd gone through before. So I tell people this: pain is a part of the blessing. It's not separated from it. It's a part of it. And can I be honest? I am so grateful for homelessness. I just think about all the success that I've had. And do you know how arrogant I might be, if I wasn't homeless? You know how arrogant I might be had I not been a high school dropout? You know how arrogant I might have been if it wasn't for those 12 years it took me to get a 4-year degree? Like, those things shaped me and humbled me in a way now that I truly believe that a lot of my success has come from just being humble. Like, I just jumped on a lady, she probably didn't have no more than 10 people on her live. I jumped on, she had over 1,000 people on her live, and I just know it was somebody that followed me. So I just was like, hey, I don't just follow celebrities. I don't just rock with people who are, and I jumped on her call, and I had a couple people text me afterwards. I don't even know who these people were, but they got my number, and they were just saying, man, that's what we love about you. Like, you just jumped on a lady who had 10 followers. But I'll be honest, TD, I'm not a good human. I was homeless. I know what it's like, when you get kicked out of school. I know what it's like. My father wasn't in my life. I know what it's like not to be a priority. You know what I'm saying? Like, my father wasn't in my life. I know what it's like not to be a priority. I know what it's like, not to have a 1.3 GPA and you're not the university's priority. Like, I know what that feels like. And so when I see people in the airport and I take a picture with them, or when I go to a prison or a youth detention center for free and work with the kids, people are like, I'm like, I'm not a nice guy. I used to be in this situation, and I'm so grateful for the people. I'll never forget, I called Michael B. Jordan. My daughter was like, Dad, it was her birthday, and her mom was like, can you get Michael B. Jordan to do a birthday shout out? I was like, I don't know. He's my guy. I don't know if he'll do it. I'll ask. And when he did it, I said to myself, I want to be the guy who says yes to people. I want to be that guy. Like, I know what it was like for my daughter, how she felt when Michael B. Jordan did the shout out for her birthday. And so I want to, for people who look to me like that, I want to give them that feeling, And so, man, pain will set you up for prosperity.
How often, this is good. How often do you go back in your mind to the Eric who was that guy to remember where you came from? Do you go back there a lot to stay humble with all that you've achieved? How often do you live that?
I live there, man. No.
I know.
TD, not in the bad way. You can't touch your past. So you shouldn't let it touch your future, right? So we're not talking about it in a negative way. Woe is me. Why did I do this? How did that happen? No, I go back to give thanks. I go back to say, man, God, look what you did. That 21-year-old could have destroyed my whole life. That 22-year-old, he could have took me out, in terms of just decision-making and character and integrity, And so I just go back to give God the glory. Then I go back to say, hey, Eric, don't allow Now, you've been in San Diego longer than me, TD, but I do have to say this, and I don't mean any harm to anybody's listening, because if you're watching and you're part of TD's family, you guys don't do this, you know. But man, sometimes when I'm in San Diego and if I get to the wrong person, like they could be so pretentious, you know, and it's like, we're not talking about life now. Now we're talking about what do you do for a career? How much money you make? What do you drive? And again, I've been blessed. So it's not like I don't live somewhere and I don't drive something, but it's like, yo, I don't want to talk about that. Like, right. I want to talk about just you. Who are you? How are you doing? How are your children? Like, let's not let our titles and, you know, our bank accounts and achievements become the talk of the day. Like, how are you? What's going on? How can I help? Like, bro, TD, when we met on the plane, it was like we knew each other, you know, forever. And I was like, yo, this is the type of San Diego.
Kindred soul, man. Kindred soul.
This is the kind of San Diego guy I got to be connected. You know? and so, yeah, I think sometimes, you know, when you go back to your past, I get to remember the person who my mother wasn't proud of. And now she's proud of me. I get to remember the guy that my wife was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do another 30-something years with this guy. And it humbles me because it shows me, man, I remember when I was a 2.0 version or 0.0 version, and then God continued to bless me, and now I'm the 14. Oh, but I want those two worlds because they both are responsible for making me who I am. I don't want to forget the past because I don't want to live in the PhD. I'm not, look, man, TD, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I hate when people read my bio, you know, and I hate it just because, you know, it's so unfair. It only talks about, it's like the internet. It only talks about the PhD. So it doesn't talk about the 12-year struggle to get the 4-year degree. It doesn't talk about the GED, you know? And so it's like, I need you to know Eric as a whole, because then you'll get to love him and understand him. When you understand he's you, Eric is you. He struggled like you, didn't have his daddy. My mama was 17 years old when she got pregnant with me. High school, dropped out, lived in abandoned buildings, ate out of trash. Like, I'm more you than you think. And I only say that because when you look, TD, when you look at us at this version, you may go, I can't accomplish that. I can't do that. Okay. But when you look at the other Eric, you like, wow, God did what through him and got him through what? And then you're like, okay, if God can do that for ET, he can do that for me.
Impact family. If you're like, I cannot get enough of this guy, how do I get more of him? Well, I got to say there's lots of ways. And you can go back and listen to some old videos. But more importantly, I got to say congratulations. You just wrote not only a great book, but a best-selling book. Not only a best-selling book, a New York Times bestseller, guy. UOU.
Yes.
Look at that. If you're watching YouTube, he's holding up UOU. I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Man, tell me about the book. What you're fired up and who's it for?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, we've done our own self-published stuff.
Sure.
You know, and CJ was like, man, E, I'm not saying you haven't done a good job, but as you said earlier, it's levels to this. We were talking offline. It's levels to this. And C was like, E, bro, you got to get with a publisher now because they got a machine and so many more people need to meet you, E. So many people need to know your story so they can know what's possible for them. So honestly, when I got with the publishing company, it was like, okay, man, you've been doing this for over 30 years. Like, what do you want to talk about? I said, you know what, man, if I could go back over my life and I can give people one principle that really took me from homelessness, from living in abandoned buildings and eating out of trash cans to being where God has me now, I said that would be UOU. Ooh. You know, and this whole construct of taking full ownership of your life. And when I looked at, a lot of stuff happened to me, of course, but when I look at one of the single most important things that ever happened to me, and when things started to shift and change in my life, was the day I stopped saying my mom had only been 25 when she got pregnant with me and married. And had I only had my father in my life, and that they would have had a nursery for me, and, you know, they would have thought through my name. You know what I'm saying? If they would have had a college fund waiting for me. You know, and I always had, TD, all these excuses of why I was high school dropout. How did I get there? And one day God said, son, you got to stop looking out the window. You always looking out the window. And you got to start looking in the mirror, Eric. Good. You got to start looking in the mirror. Yeah, maybe your mom could have been, and maybe your daddy should have been, but Eric, that has nothing to do with you were fearfully and wonderfully made, son. That had nothing to do with you a royal priesthood in the chosen generation. Like that has nothing, like now you are starting to forget that I created you and I made you to do great things. And now you become a victim. When you are a victor, son, you a royal priest. You the head, not the tail. You the royal priesthood. You know what I'm saying? You're a lender, not a borrower. You know what I'm saying? You're above, not beneath. Like, what are you doing homeless? What are you doing eating out of trash can? What are you doing, son? And I said, you know what, God, you're right. Let me take ownership. My mama, maybe it was my mother's fault when I was 10. Okay, I'm 19 now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe my biological father was responsible for me from birth to now, but he's not here. And I got a heavenly father who is taking responsibility.
Amen.
So it's like, take ownership. And man, once I start saying you're homeless because of you, you're a high school dropout because of you. You can't read to grade level because of you. You can't write because of you. Man, once I took ownership, the solutions just seemed like they came out of nowhere, and the mentors and the coaches, you know, and the resources and the support came out of nowhere. But when I was a victim, man, I never got no support when I was a victim.
Wow. Powerful. I mean, you talk about that mentality, that attitude, that philosophy, that ethos, how many people are walking around as the victims right now. So you wrote the book to really transform the mind, right? The victim mentality to the victim mentality. For those of you who have read my Get Your Mind Right book, now read UOU book, because it's going to be a follow-up to Get Your Mind Right. There, look at, he's even tapping that head, that Get Your Mind Right. So who's this book for? Because you serve all audiences, but you know, from looking at your content and following you, it seems like your heart is for the kids, people who are lost, empty, broken right now. Who is this for? Someone specifically?
It's for people with a victim's mentality. Okay. And I would hope that you would grab it at 13 and get out of that victim's mentality before you're homeless, before you're a high school dropout. You know, but it's for people to realize how great they are. For everybody who's not living their potential. You know, you owe you. You know, imagine that. Imagine how upset you get when somebody owe you money and they don't pay you back. You know, you owe you.
This is going to be this. I'm curious to what you have to say here. In a lot of ways, even being around successful people, uber successful people, stepping into our full potential. I always feel there's another level. Like you just talk about ownership. I know personally myself, I'm always like, you know what? I could play at another level. Would this book speak to the person who's already successful? They really haven't stepped into the best version yet.
Absolutely.
There's another level.
They haven't ignited it. Like, let me tell you something. Here's the greatest disappointment for me. Personally, not what I did to my mom, my kids, my wife, you know, but not society. My greatest regret to me is when I got a PhD. You know, TD, I was so hurt. I was like, yo, where was this dude at? Where was this dude at when I was 21? Where was this researcher, this writer, this resilient, this academic dude? Where were you at? You know, and it was painful because God didn't give me a new brain once I got baptized. You know, once I made him my Lord and Savior. Like he didn't give me no new brain. He didn't give me no new mouth. He didn't give me no new heart. I got the same equipment that I've always had. I just never activated it. You know, so when I got that PhD, man, I walked across that stage. I was like, bruh, you owe you. Like you got this PhD off the strength of your mentors and coaches rah-rahing you. You can do more. You can be more.
I mean, part of that PhD probably is, if you're like me, it's more about the process of getting to the PhD. It's like when you wrote UOU, it was about the process of writing the book. Now that it's out there and the seedling is out there and you have, let's say, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people reading it, it's the process, and people don't always love the process. That's what we fall in love with.
And that's what I mean. When I got through the PhD, it was like, yo, you know how to do this. Why haven't you been doing this? Like, come on, E. So it was like, TD, after that, it was like, E, you got whoever that guy was, you got to tap into him regularly.
Like that.
Whoever that guy is, you got to eat, sleep, drink. You got to be with that guy 24/7. You got to get rid of that other guy. That other guy is killing you. That other guy, he's killing you, bro. That other guy is TD. That other guy want to kick field goals. He want to kick a field goal.
Pick up the book, folks. I don't know if you can feel the energy right now, but pick up the darn book and read You Owe You. You Owe You. I don't care if you are playing the victim's card right now or you're a victor, but you know there's another level that God's calling you to step into. Read the book. Also, if you listen to this before February 7th, make sure you've got a virtual summit coming up for anyone around the world. And if you want to sign up for that, man, what's that virtual summit all about? The UOU summit.
So the summit is a way to accentuate, speed up this paradigm shift we've been talking about.
Yep.
And because TD, it took me so long, and I felt like God was saying to me this year, Eric, you've been doing this thing for 30 years. Stop competing with your sheep and start feeding your sheep. You feel me? God was like, you've been out here for 30 years speaking to that. You got the mindset. Stop just going into different gears. Now, go back now and help as many young adults as you can get the mindset. Help as many kids you get. Help as many grown folk. And so for those of you who are like, I know it, but I'm not operating in it, I need to be around it. It's a conference for 4 days. And I did it virtually, and no disrespect to Southwest, but I just didn't want to do it live, and then you couldn't get on the plane and you couldn't make it to where you were trying to go, and I'm being real with you guys, the whole air traffic control system, they just shut down planes. So I was like, look, we can't do that. Like, we're just going to go virtual, so you have no excuse. You can watch it at home. You can be at the gym. We're going 4 days, 4 days, where I'm bringing not just myself, but some of the coaches that I mentioned and some of the people in my life. And here's the most important thing. I'm bringing 7 individuals who came into my life who had a victor's mentality, but didn't go all the way. And I'm going to show you how I help them better their marriages, make 7 figures. They're guys one of the guys just is like the greatest artist of the year for the Grammys. He's up for the best artist of the year. Like the Inky Johnsons of the world that I mentored and helped get to that next level. These are the people that will be there for these 4 days showing you what I did to unlock their mindset, shift their paradigm, and get to another level. And TD, I'm going to say this, man, you got these, and again, they're doing their job, but I've got this marketing guy. He's like, I need you to call prime time. I need you to call some of your Victor Oladipo, some of your NBA, NFL, guys, the people that and I need you to put them on a flyer and I need you to interview them. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing that. I said, I'm not doing it. They said, come on, this is the way the people going to go to the summit. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, listen, I'm going to do it God's way.
Amen.
I'm going to actually interview the everyday humans like myself who I help blow up. They're not prime time. They don't play football. These people they ain't Victor Oladipo. They don't play for the Miami Heat. I'm like, bro, I'm not that I have anything against them. Those are my guys. Like Dion co-signed the back of it. CP3 co-signed the back of it. I'm not suggesting that these people are not important, but I'm like, I'm going to introduce you to the young lady that was in real estate now that's blonde. I'm going to introduce you to the 24-year-old from Michigan that drove to Michigan State to hear me, and now he's got a phenomenal speaking career, and he's my 2-man. I want to introduce you to everyday people who took their God-given ability, got with me, and let me stretch their thinking and stretch their imagination and tap into their royalness.
Man.
Those are the people that we're going to have for the 4 days. So if you like, man, my son's a victim, and I need my son to get out of it. My daughter is a young adult. She's not living up to her true potential. I'm telling you, UOUsummit.com.
UOUsummit.com.
Yeah.
Hey, if you got a teammate or a colleague at work that, hey, let's do a little work thing together, have 3, 4, 5, 8 teammates at work, go through the summit.
Bring them together.
Great personal growth, then chop it up afterwards, discuss that. He's got workbooks and everything else. Guys, as if the Impact Show ain't enough, here we got, ET, the hip-hop preacher talking. You got UOU book and now the virtual summit. February is going to be an off-the-chain month. So,
and TD, let me tell you why we did it in February. I wanted people to get through that January high. It's like, just go ahead, buy your whatever program, do whatever you say. get the treadmill that you're not going to get all that stuff, do all that stuff, get it out your system. And in February, now let's go to work. Like February, we got a baseline now. You know what you're doing. You know what you're not doing. The dreaming is over. You know what I'm saying? We're in the second quarter. All the hype from the, you know what I'm saying? TD, all the hype from coming out of the tunnel, you know, all the
100%. Adrenaline's worn off. You're tired again.
Let's go.
You're back in the run routine. You're eating the same garbage. You need a little pick me up. You need some juice. I call it juice, E. We all need juice. We all need juice. And we hope that just, hey, if I listen to the show today, I'm going to get juice. Good. Get the juice. But it's really about how do we create sustainable habits that are going to allow us to excel and step into the best version of ourselves on a regular basis. Guys, just sign up. UOUsummit.com, UOUsummit.com. Check it on out. I've got a couple tactical questions, Eric, that I want to hear what you have to say. This. Speaking of habits, what are 2 or 3 of your habits that allow you to excel personally and professionally? What are a few things that you do on the regular that now allow you to perform at your best?
The first one is have a routine and stick to it. Non-negotiables, y'all. So here's the problem with some of y'all. You phenomenal. You are phenomenal. Without a shadow of a doubt. You are phenomenal. The challenge is your phenomenal you shows up occasionally. Right? And let's be very clear. If you can show up every time they turn a mic on, I'm going to give you that juice. I'm not going to say, let me tell you something, TD. If you say, E, Monday at 11:30, and I'm not feeling well, which I'm not going to be not feeling well because this is not opportunity. I'm just saying, I'm not going to. Man, I know people who literally let me pay them and they don't give me their best. I'm like, bruh, you should have just not took the money. But you just showed up in a way where I ain't never going to pay you again. Like, I will never give you another dime. You should have showed up the person that I saw and that I was willing to pay. And you showed up somebody else. And so I think the first thing is show up as your phenomenal self as many days as you can, as often as you can. And this is why, and I get it, this is a different generation, so I get in trouble. But this is why I believe that Michael Jordan is the best that ever do it. Not because Michael Jordan is the most talented, the most gifted. I just think when it comes to execution, it didn't matter. Mike got 6 shots. Mike got it done in 6. Mike, home game, away game, it didn't matter. He was the same at home. He played, and you see some players, man, they're great at home with the home crowd, but when they play away. And so here's my thing. The more you can be your authentic self.
Truth.
The greatest part. Look, people get jobs and get fired because it's like, hold up, that's not the person that I interviewed. People get married and get divorced because like, hold up, what happened? That wasn't the person that I married, right? People, sports, you get drafted and in the 3rd year, they're like, hold up, we want a new player. Why? You're not the person that we drafted. And so what I've discovered is that the longer and more you can be your great, phenomenal self, people are going to want to be around you. People will be attracted to you. Doors will open. Opportunities will open. And so here's where I think the biggest challenge is. And for those of you who are listening, here's one of the things that I try to do, the things that I do well. Just do those things well. That nobody's looking for me, TD, to be an artist, a graphic artist.
Yep.
Like nobody calls me the GOAT because I clean well. You know what I'm saying? Nobody calls me the GOAT because I critique papers, with great people call me the GOAT because I consistently speak at a high level.
Yep. So when you talk about habits, E, I'm curious from a health, fitness, energy standpoint, is there anything specific you do? Do you work out regularly? You're eating clean? What's kind of that allows you to perform at that highest level to go on stage and rock stages?
So let's talk about the best version of ET. So the best version of me for years, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and cleansing my mind and soul.
True.
A lot of people, they want to talk about just the diet in terms of what you eat, which is critical, but it's also the diet in your brain. What are you saying to yourself? What are you taking in? What are you hearing? And so every day I would get up at 3 and talk to God. And I wanted to talk to God first because everything he was telling me was about my greatness, about where I need to make adjustments so I can be better. Also, for years I participated, in a vegetarian diet. So for years, I watched my intake. Like I don't smoke, I don't drink. There's just certain TD. There's just certain things that I just didn't take in my body. I try to walk regularly, fresh air. That's why I moved to San Diego in the winter, to get that vitamin D because it's important. That's right. You go without that sun, and then here's the biggest one. I think the biggest one is really staying active, guys. Even if you're working out, don't just work out at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Your body needs to move throughout the day. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's who I look up to. I don't just look up to bodybuilders. I look up to that 85-year-old that's in the mall walking. I'm like, hold up. What's your workout routine? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see her doing any burpees. I don't see her doing any, difficult exercise lifts. I don't see any of that. I don't see her lifting 400 pounds. She's out there staying active. They're walking in the morning. They're walking in the afternoon. They got something out. So I also say, whatever you're doing, try to do it. Make it a habit. Make it something that you do. Make it a lifestyle.
E.T., I got a couple rapid fire questions. I put on my social media that you were coming on the podcast and had some great questions come in from our loyal listeners here. One, B Harrison _ what's your 5-year plan, E.T.?
So 5-year plan, man, is to win a Nobel Peace Prize. And so the reason why, people ask me all the time, why would you want to do that? The same reason why LeBron wants to win the finals. The same reason why Mahoney's going after the Lombardi Trophy. The same reason why Iserman, I'm aging myself, was going after the Stanley Cup. It's the same reason why Tiger Woods wants to go after the World Cup. Everybody needs to wake up with and know what they're going after. Everybody needs to wake up with a plan. And so for me, in 5 years, the Nobel Prize would mean not that I scored 38,000 points like LeBron. Maybe it means I helped 38,000 people, right? Or 3.8 million people. That's why you win a Nobel Prize. And so specifically, I'm trying to do it in the field of education. And then more importantly, I'm also trying to, even as we speak, from now to the next 5 years, praise God, I hope I get 5 more years on this earth, is to crystallize my legacy. So we have started programs using our content to help the real estate industry. We're doing stuff in the prison system. I've got a series of books like Tupac. If something happens to me, the book's just going to be released. And what I'm trying to do is set up the world to still be able to get E.T. when he's gone, to still be able to get content, get leadership, get get direction, get implementation. And so the next 5 years, I'm actually setting up my content in a way where it'll outlive me. My literature, books will still be written or coming out in my absence. So that's my 5-year plan.
So bottom line is, don't wait, UOU. You all know my theme this year is why wait? Why wait? Don't wait to do anything. He's setting it up right now. Get on to UOU Virtual Summit. Next question is, best way to start a public speaking business?
To start speaking. I'm just saying,
so true. Well, Coach once told me, hey, if you want to speak more, speak more.
Speak more.
That's great. If you want to speak more, speak more. So speak more.
The only thing I would say to that, though, TD, is figure out who you want to speak to and why you want to speak to them and go for it.
And share your message is what. Like, don't hide behind the pain that you were in. You've shared where you come from. Sometimes people are a little embarrassed or afraid.
No.
Growing up, I come from a divorced family. I was a little shy early in my career about that. Now it's like I just share everything.
Everything.
And people can relate to that.
Absolutely.
How do you stay motivated for the long haul? Someone asks.
You gotta know your why. Here's a quick story I tell people all the time. You've got a small woman, female. She's about 125 pounds. She's a runner, right? She's out running. A dog attacks her. What does she do? She absolutely runs for her life.
That's right.
You got the same woman, 125 pounds, runner. She's out, in the daytime, but now she's running and she's got her infant, in a wheel, what is it? The baby seat, and she's out there running with it.
Baby jogger,
and a dog comes.
Yeah.
Yep. What does she do? She doesn't run. She goes after that dog. Why? Because that dog is going after her baby.
Yep.
And she puts fear in that dog and sends that dog running. Oftentimes you can get motivated when you're doing it for others in a way you can't get motivated when you're doing it for yourself.
Oh.
So find out who you're doing it for. Wake up. Who are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? Who needs you to get up? Who needs you to get up on time? Who needs you to succeed as bad as you want to breathe? Who needs you to get it done? Who needs you to execute? And so sometimes we won't lose weight for ourselves.
That's
in a
right.
way we'll do it, we will when we have to do it for our children so we can live another 15, 20 years and be here to support them.
E.T., you talk about your wife, Dee Dee, a lot.
Yeah.
How does she fit into everything that you do? What's her role and your role as far as your message, your vision to, get a Nobel Peace Prize? And how does that work?
Dee Dee, I didn't know where you were going with this. She is a Phil Jackson and a Bobby Knight rolled into one.
So that's an interesting combination.
Yeah, what a combination, right? So she's Phil Jackson in that, she understands what Michael Jordan wants, but doesn't have the system to do it. Doesn't have the strat. Come on, look at Mike. Mike was putting up 62 points, not winning the championship. A gym shoe deal, McDonald's, Gatorade deal. But that's not why he came. That's not why he came to win a championship. And so Phil put together a system for him called a triangle and critiqued Mike in a way that he said, look, Mike, nobody needs to talk about how good you are. Everybody knows how good you are. You need to figure out what you're not good at. You need to put on some weight. You need to lift weights. The Pistons are killing you. You need to get in a triangle. You need to pass the ball more. You need to play on both ends. And so Dee Dee is the Phil Jackson, but then she's the Bobby Knight. You know what I'm saying? Phil's a little quiet on Bobby Knight is very expressive. Very expressive. So Dee Dee's that Bobby Knight. Dee Dee's that person that is not going to be passive about what I need to do to improve and get better. So I've got the Phil Jackson Bobby Knight combination.
You see, she's the yin and the yang, the alpha and the omega.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I love it. Hey, this is the Impact Show. You just talked about legacy. What is Eric Thomas's legacy?
That for every human that needs fuel, that needs that juice, that needs to be challenged, that needs to be pushed, I'm your guy. I'm your cheerleader, critique wrapped in one. I'm gonna pump you up. I'm gonna tell you to believe in yourself. I'm gonna tell you are a priority, to God, to the people that you love. People are counting on you. I'm gonna give you that juice, bro. I'm gonna make you run through a wall. But I'm also going to challenge you to not sit on the fence and cry and moan and whine and be a victim. I'm gonna be the friend that says, yeah, I love you, but get dressed, go take a shower, brush your teeth, lace them up. Let's get out here and be great. So that's the impact that I'll leave on the world. I'm gonna inspire. I'm gonna cheer you up, but I'm also going to challenge you to be the best version of you.
Man, we talk about impact. You just heard it from the man right there. E.T., I want to say thank you for making this happen, for writing UOU, the book. Guys, pick up the book. Get on the virtual summit. I can't believe how inexpensive this is. I'm like, E, are you serious? Yeah, T, I want to make sure the impact proliferates around the universe. Yeah. So, guys, just check it out. I'll put everything in the show notes. Follow him on social media. E.T. the HipHop Preacher everywhere. Make sure you follow Eric. He will change your life and then some. Eric, is your mom still living?
Yeah, mom's still alive. Oh, is she ever?
What does she say to you now? I'm curious. She knew the Eric before and after. What does she say to you now?
She grabs my arm and then she looks me in my face and she says, I'm proud of you. Did you ever think that you'd come this far? And so, man, the fact that, mom is proud, and the fact that she lived to see it. My grandma didn't live to see it.
Yeah.
But the fact that my mom lived to see it, to see the transformation, man, it means everything to me.
And what do you say to her when she says that?
Oh, Mom, thanks. You were 17. Yeah. Thanks. You could have went a different route. You probably should have went a different route. I mean, you sacrificed your life for mine. You didn't go to college. You had to work at Ford Motor Company for 30 plus years, to make sure that you set us up for greatness, And so, it's thank you, wow. And I got to be honest, God's been on my head lately, like, man, honor your mother, honor your mother, honor your mother. I know you got plans and goals and set things you want to do how you want to do it, but some of the plans you got, stop those and honor your mother. Honor your mother, son.
So true. E, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the man that you are, for showing up, not just for one book or for one video, but I know the pain and the adversity and everything you faced over not a year or 2 or 5 or 10, but over 30 years, man, of just giving your heart and your soul in the DMs everywhere you look. When you think about what people are doing, E, you always show up. Everywhere, on stage, in the books. TD, let's get on. Let's go. How about Monday? I just want to say thank you, brother.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for the platform.
Hey, listen. Any final words for our listeners before we all go on and get fired up to the day? Yeah.
You decide today which check you're going to write to yourself and then go deposit it. Figure it out. Do you owe yourself a health? Does your bank account not look like your greatness? Do you owe your children to make them a priority? I don't know what it is, but you owe you. Go write the check and don't go deposit it. Don't let that check sit. Don't let that check sit so long that it's not of any value anymore. All right? Write the check. Go cash the check and give yourself the life you deserve.
Let's go. You owe you. Pick it up today. Get on the summit. E.T., the hip-hop preacher. Eric Thomas, you're the man. Thank you, brother. I love you.
Thank you, my brother.
Hey, we need to get a workout in. We need to go live.
I'll see you in San Diego. I'll be back in March.
We're gonna make it happen.
Let's get it. We'll
go live. We'll do some arm farm. We'll go live while we're working some arms, baby.
Let's get it.
Done deal. Love you, brother. Man, oh man. Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip-hop preacher. What an amazing conversation today, and I hope you enjoyed every word of that. Can you feel the energy? I hope you felt the energy that I felt. Like, I wanted just that combo to keep on going and going. I think in life there's energy givers and there's energy suckers. And E.T. is certainly an energy giver. He's going to certainly give a lot of energy so that you can absorb a lot of energy to go and live a better life. And read the book, You Owe You. Pick it up. Read the book, You Owe You. I love that concept of taking ownership of your life, whether you're in a good season of life, you're in a tough season, maybe you're losing right now. And I want to be one who constantly reminds you every Monday when this episode drops, when a new episode drops, is, man, you deserve it. You owe yourself that. And that's what E.T. just wrote this book on, You Owe You. It's a #1 bestseller already. But you got to read the book, and he's got this great summit. Check it out, youousummit.com. I'll put it all in the show notes as well. And I just want to say thank you for always your words, your comments, your DMs back, for sharing these episodes. Please share this episode. I got to tell you, when I met E.T. on the airplane, just a few days ago, literally just a few days ago, met him on the airplane while I was heading to Atlanta for a day of impact. And then we're DM. That's how it started. I DM'd him, right? I couldn't talk long in the plane. And he told me about the summit coming up, and he told me, all that he was doing. And I asked how I can help. And he said, I'd love to come on your podcast. And man, God works in mysterious ways. Because E.T. is someone I followed for over 15 years and someone who I always wanted to get on the show and just never did until now. So that's how the universe works. That's how energy works. When you set an intention and you get yourself out there and you show up, live in an airplane, at a theater, at a live event. You meet people. And when you meet people, things happen. You just listen to a, 45-minute conversation or so based on the fact that we had met, and now everyone around the world gets to hear a great conversation from a man who is doing so many great things in the world. So thank you for listening. Please share. And if you have not yet done so, if you please go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. 5 stars really help us out. And if you feel so inclined to, please write a review. Reviews help us immensely for the Todd Durkin Impact Show. My goal, like his is to win a Nobel Peace Prize. Man, Nobel Prize, that's amazing. One of my goals for 2023 is to continually rise the ranks in the podcast field, and that we can be a top 10 podcast in the world. But it's going to take people like you and me that are going to share the great gospel of motivation, inspiration, and impact to help us do what we do. So please share this. Please write a review. If there's ever a time, the time is now. After all, you owe you. Have an incredible day. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, remember, you got to train hard. You must eat right. Go live inspired. And definitely after listening today, go create impact.